Okay, hey everyone, welcome to an episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today I have a really cool strap showcase for you guys from Anchor Strap Company. A little about them: they are founded by watch enthusiast Brando B. Delgado with the belief that every watch strap they craft should really evoke a spirit of perseverance and strength, like sailors gripping tightly to rigging amidst a storm, hence their hold fast motto. Big thank you to Brando and Anchor Strap Co. for sending in these following samples for review. Now, in terms of the highlights here, guys, these are the AnchorFlex flagship models, newly released in 2025. They go for $80 and they're available in 7 different colors, 2 different widths, and 2 different lengths. And essentially, they're designed for those who demand both strength and refinements. This strap really elevates your watch with balance and durability, comfort, and sleek nautical styling. Whether you're diving into the deep, scrubbing into the OR, or heading out for a night in the city, the flagship definitely have you covered, and they're built to keep up. Now, these are premium FKM rubber straps, and there's quite a few details. These are actually an upgraded version of a previous release they did, which were a little bit more bare bones, but I do like the details that they've done to really elevate these. Also, there's another strap I'm going to talk about before we dive all the way in. But yeah, I have a couple of other colors, but I wanted to just kind of showcase them on these in particular. If you're interested in any of these watches, guys, these have all been reviewed on my channel, some more recently than others. But yeah, so if you are curious about any of these models and you do have any questions, feel free to search the channel history. I'll try to leave links down in the description. So with all that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get these pieces in hand, and take a closer look. Okay, guys, now before we dive into these straps, I don't have every colorway here, but I have quite a few different ones, and I wanted to highlight these in terms of what stands out. But there's also this strap here, guys, and it's something, you know, as I'm filming this in October, of course, there's going to be some special releases. This one is very special, so I did want to talk about this before diving in. This is their Anchored in Hope limited edition, and it is available in this ribbon pink colorway. And it's a limited edition release that is just created exclusively for their Anchored in Hope campaign. All of the profits from this strap sale will actually be donated directly to breast cancer research through the American Cancer Society. So by choosing this ribbon pink, you're not just elevating your watch, you're joining the fight for a future without cancer. So very, very cool. I did want to touch on that. Of course, I have reviewed these straps in the past. These are another one of his more premium inventions, and they're really fantastic. So if you want to get the full details on this strap right here, definitely check the channel description. Quick little demo for those of you who might be new to this. Boom, we get in there. We'll just go ahead and line up the whole. There we go. Nice and snug. Beautifully tight, great tolerance there, and there you have it. So have very bubble gum like, you know, bubble tape. It gives me that vibe. So this looks delicious, and of course it is delicious in terms of eye candy for your wrist, or wrist candy, if you will. So very, very cool. And again, big shout out to Anchor Strap Company. They actually recently moved to my hometown, so he didn't even have to ship these. I was able to just swing by and pick them up. So very cool. This is cool. I'll leave this here, so for those of you that are thinking about it, you can keep thinking. You see that? All right. So these straps, before we get into kind of the particular color combination and everything, let's get into some of the details. I'll use this beautiful gray one here. I feel like this is going to be one of the more versatile colorways for this. Let me give it a quick little wipe here, of course. Of course, yeah, this is going to match with everything. Look at that hardware. Really nicely done. Of course, the execution on the texturing here, it almost looks like a hybrid strap. Underside, very premium feeling. And yeah, quick release spring bars, you know, equipped. Great visibility here when it comes to the lengths. As you can see, 120 millimeters on one end. On the shorter end, you have 75 millimeters. You have a 20 millimeter width, tapering down to 18 millimeters. And yeah, this looks quite good. Floating keeper, fixed keeper, and it just pretty much just does everything you need it to. So this is, of course, premium FKM rubber, which is going to be ultra resilient to UV, salt water, sweat, and extreme temperatures. And of course, is crafted to really outlast even the harshest environments. And you're going to get a lot of comfort. Look at the taper here. Thickness to thin, so when it does double up underneath the wrist, it just has a nice amount of flex to it. But then up here, where you need more body and more structure, where you're centering and keeping your watch on wrist, you have that, which I can appreciate that. So it doesn't just taper width wise, it also tapers thickness wise, and it's going to be thick where you need it and then thin where you don't. Now, of course, this is much softer than standard rubber. It's definitely engineered to be worn without any irritation on your skin, which is also very nice. You get this custom buckle, beautifully signed there, as you guys can see. Great shape to it, gives it just a bit of a premium vibe without it being overly dressy, which I like. It still gives you that very tool-like aesthetic. And it's all fully brushed. Again, quick release spring bars, and you can really swap in seconds thanks to the quick release spring bars. So very cool. And I do like the profile on here. I like that they have a bit of a border that goes all the way around. And then of course that nice fabric-like texturing I think looks very, very good. So these are available in a couple different options, 20 and 22 millimeter. These are all 20 millimeters featured here. And then you're, of course, going to have, 18 millimeter premium tang-buckles that we already went over. And you're going to get two different lengths, essentially, so you can fit different sizes of wrists. Standard length, which is these. And then you can also get a shorter variation, which is going to be, 15 millimeters shorter on one side and then 5 millimeters shorter on the other. So these are very cool. They're not compatible with their deployant clasps, but I think the tang-buckle setup looks quite good. Of course, I feel like the blue and the gray are just kind of no-brainers. They will go with almost anything. So I did want to focus on, some of the less expected ones. And of course, they were thinking, hey, well, on a black strap, that's nothing special. Well, I did want to show this on this beautiful Dirty Dozen inspired piece from Praecidus because it has the texturing which ties in to that granular texturing on the dial, and I think it just looks absolutely fantastic. I love the way this looks. It definitely gives it a more sporty contemporary feel, and we'll even get it on the wrist and see how it wears. So check that out. 4 holes in on my 7.5 inch wrist, and I think it looks really quite lovely. Of course, I get my wrist a bit too close to the camera. It's going to make things proportionally look a bit bigger, but I'm just going to, kind of tone down the dynamic cutting away to just give you a very realistic look here. And you can see beautiful texturing, great details. I do like these a lot. The comfort is there. Now, of course, if I want to channel my inner Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, red strap. You got a little bit of red text there. That's how I like to play when it comes to these louder colors. You take a small accent and then you offset that with some nice contrast. And I think that looks gorgeous. Of course, you're going to get to see this fantastic case back that is a display case back. You see that Sellita SW300 movement, and it just comes together really cool. Like, this is a very nice thing that kind of pops, gives you a little bit of fashion, right, while you're wearing it, a little bit of contrast, but I'll have to say that it's very nice. And you can see that slim profile flows beautifully with this strap. Now, kind of on the other side of the spectrum, you have something that's going to be a little bit more sedate, a little bit more earthy. You have, of course, this beautiful HGP diver, and it's representing for France, right? We have some Swiss-made pieces. We have some American-assembled pieces here. We don't have any Seikos, unfortunately. Of course, I have tons of Seikos, but they didn't make it into this video. But if one did, which would you like to see on which strap? Let me know. But I do like the way the green ties into this more military spec style. Also, you can see that the loom, although it is white during the day, it does have a bit of a tint to it, as you can see. And I think that tone of green just plays nicely off of this piece, and it gives you a bit of a kind of refined military, vibe to it. And I think it does a great job. And you can see, of course, the underside of this strap, very premium, very well thought out. Now, this is probably the more latest watch that I featured in terms of review, because this is a newer release. This is the limited edition Vulcain Skin Diver Nautique GMT. It does have a little, get that off of there. And this is a fantastic watch. I've tried it on various bracelets, whether it be beads of rice or their signature premium bracelet that is a single Y-link style. But once I saw this color, I kind of couldn't resist. Look at the way it just ties in with the pop of blue, the brighter blue on the dial for GMT, as well as the GMT hand itself. There is something about this additional pop of color that I really can appreciate. It's vibrant without being loud, and it says something without saying it in your face, which I really like. It just feels quite fun, but also elevated. It doesn't feel cheap in any way. And these straps aren't cheap at $80. They're absolutely not cheap. Can you get similar FKM rubber straps for less? Absolutely, you can. But when you do, and you are getting those types of prices, you're just kind of supporting a factory that has been cutting out the middleman, if you will. They're, they're all their creatives, essentially, that came up with these great ideas for these watches. They're kind of taking advantage of them, and then they're cutting them out and, providing their own dial with an updated brand for their factory brand when you do get stuff like that, right? So same goes for straps. In this case, yes, you can get things that are quite competitive, quite similar, but again, I do like to support other watch enthusiasts, and I would have to say, the mind behind this brand is absolutely that, a true enthusiast. And look at that hardware, sharp and beautiful. And yeah, the pop of blue really goes with this. It kind of softens it because it can be very, very rich and blue. But then when you have something like this brighter, it actually makes it feel a bit more subdued. So kind of cool, and obviously can match with a lot of different things. So we do have a lot of different options here, guys. And I think these are really quite handsome. Now, in terms of the, I forgot to mention, always have this on standby. One of my favorite tools, big shout out to Anchor. They didn't pay me to do this. I actually asked them for an extra one. This is how much I like these. I love that they're coated, so there's not just a bunch of sharp knurling that can potentially scratch up your bracelet or your watch. So if you need something like that, I think this is great. Of course, you got that kind of frag pattern, so you could still get grip, but it's not a dangerous grip that you have to worry about, crashing or scratching against the side of a watch case or bracelet. So again, big shout out to Anchor. Very well done. And that's kind of the tail of the tape here, right? Yes, there's other places that sell these types of products, but there's just that additional enthusiast eye, which I can absolutely appreciate. So for me, guys, closing thoughts, it's really nice to see Brando at Anchor continuously refining his product lines. These are definitely give off a more premium look and feel thanks to their impressive level of execution, from the strap details down to the impressive hardware. Let's actually get this guy on right here. Ooh. Again, I'm not one for the bright blue, but man, that pops. It just does. It's fun. It feels bright. It feels, summery, alive, and adventurous, and I do like that a whole lot. Also, while these, at $80, they aren't exactly cheap, it still is far from, actually I'd say far more affordable than something similar from a more mainstream established brand. And I think when compared to some of the AliExpress alternatives, hey, you're supporting a genuine enthusiast who's living their dream and working to genuinely contribute something of value to the collector community versus some factories that are just pretty much looking to undercut their own wholesale partners, which is rough. So I am one to support creatives. I'm one to support enthusiasts. So for stuff like this, if I'm going to spend on the strap, I would much rather spend it where I know it's going to go to a place where, folks are part of the community. They're contributing actively. I'm sorry, I'm just going to give this a quick wipe, because one of the nice things about having this on a two-piece strap is that you get to admire that movement. And while you're admiring the movement, you can also admire the undercuts, the ventilation there, the tracks for getting sweat out from underneath there. It's all very, very cool. And again, you get just that little pop of the brighter blue. You get the brighter blue here, and it just comes together. But with that said, let me know what you all think down in the comments below. If you like the video, please do like. And if you have any, please do subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.